Today we're going to start on Chapter 3, Editing and Modifying Sketches. And we're going to be doing, I'm going to be showing you how to do tutorials. So in this chapter you'll learn the following: trimming, extending, offsetting, mirroring, patterning, creating sketch fillets, creating a sketch chamfer, moving a sketch entity, creating a copy of the sketch entities, rotating the entity, scaling sketch entities, and stretching an entity. As you go through this chapter, you'll see there's a lot of explanations for different options we're going to be using, different methods. You can go through and try and follow along and see what you can create using these methods, how to make linear patterns or circular patterns. But we're going to go all the way to page 29 for this tutorial. All right, so tutorial number 1. This is what you're going to be creating. Here are some of our measurements. The first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a part, and then we're going to create our grids and snaps, and make sure we're using the right properties. So let's go ahead and open SolidWorks. Maybe you have it on your desktop. SolidWorks 2016. We have the SolidWorks 2016 64 edition. We'll open that up. First thing we want to do is we want to create a new part on the front plane. That's all steps 1 through 5. So we're in File, New, Part, okay. So we have this done. Here's our front plane, and here's our sketch. All right, so next thing we want to do is we want to, in the sketching environment, we want to set up the snap settings and specify the metric unit system measurements. All right, so we go to the general dialog box under the system options, and we're going to use the millimeter, gram, seconds. So under our tools, all the way down here at the bottom, we're going to go down here. We have options, and then we're going to do document properties. So we click on that, and now over here we have units. We want to make sure we're using millimeters, grams per second, and then we hit OK. Tools, we're going to go to options, document properties. We want the grid snap. Very important. I noticed a lot of people were having trouble with the display grid. You have to click on display grid so you see it. That's why if you display the grid, you can see the grid. So we want that. And then for our major, we want 20 millimeters. And then we have 4 in the minor and 1 in the snap points. Now it says that you could turn off the display grid, turn it on. But if you want to see the display grid, you're going to have to have it checked to see it. And then hit OK. All right, there's nothing here because the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to start drawing. So we have all this done. And we want to create a circle. All right, so here's our, we're actually going to create 3 circles. So we're going to have our center circle tool. We're going to make one with a radius of 60, one with a radius of 30, and one with a radius of 45. So we have front plane, sketch. We see our grid here. Center circle. We'll start right on the origin. We want one to be 60. So you don't have to try and get this exact because obviously we can use our smart dimension tool. And we want this to be a 60 radius, which gives us 120 millimeters for diameter. So 120 mm. So we want to make sure we use our exact measurement skills so that we know that it's in millimeters, even though we have it set for millimeters. And then we hit OK. So now this is 120 millimeters diameter, which is 60 millimeters of radius. Now we draw our next circle, which we want to be 30. So smart dimension that, and that'll be 60 mm diameter, or 30 millimeter radius. Now we draw another circle. These are called concentric circles because they are one inside the other. They all have the same center point. So we have, whoops. I'm going to hit edit undo. That gets rid of the other circle. And then we're going to smart dimension this one to be 45. So 45 and 45 is 90 millimeters. All right, so you'll see the grid only encompasses what we have, what we're working with. So don't be worried that part of your grid goes away, or if your entire grid remains, it's really just a setting on your computer. It doesn't make a difference. We could even turn the grid off. We wouldn't need to look at it. All right, so this circle here, while we have this open, we'll click on that circle, and we want this for construction. So I'm going to click on this. Now notice what happened was this has dashes on it now. So these are solid lines, and these are dash lines here. So for construction means we're going to use this as a reference circle. But when we do our drawing, we don't want our extruded or cuts to look at this line. These are simply here for measuring distances. So these are part of our part. They're being used to create our part, and this is simply here as a visual measurement tool of where we want items to be placed. All right, so now we're going to draw a couple lines. So we take our line tool, and we want one line to go from the center point all the way down to our radius of 60 millimeter circle. And then we want the next line to go across this way. What we want to do next is we want to, let's take a look if you're following along. So we drew this. We have all this in here. We drew our line out this way. We drew our line down this way. And what we're going to do now is we're going to draw a small circle. And then we're going to trim our entities, so to speak. We're going to cut out all of these parts in here. And I think I'm going to trim the entities first before we draw the circle, so I'll show you something here. So what we have here is trim entities. We want to trim the entities. Let's hit the green check mark on this. So we're going to trim our entities, and we want to trim to closest. So power trim was what we have, but we want to trim to closest. And then we can click on this, and that goes away. So we're like using scissors to cut this away. All right. So then we want to get rid of this line. We want to get rid of this line. So this is the feature that we have left now. And we hit OK. Let's do an extrude. And so it's not telling us how far to extrude it. So let's just give it an extrusion of 10 millimeters. Hit OK. So now we have this extruded. Now we're going to go here to the front plane, and we have this shape sitting here. Now we're going to click on this face. It turns blue. So our construction line disappeared, so we're going to want to draw a new construction line. Okay, so make sure we have this centered on our face, and it's no big deal if we lose our construction lines, because we still have things here. So we're going to click on our face, hit sketch, draw our circle, pick the origin. So we have a concentric origin, and then we're going to draw this, and we're going to smart dimension this to be 45. Oh wait, 90. Sorry, 90 millimeters of diameter is 45 millimeters of radius. So we have that, and then we're going to come back on here, and we're going to click it for construction purposes, and we're going to hit OK. And then we're going to come up here for a circle, and we want to draw on this line. We want to draw a small circle that will have a radius of 5 millimeters. So we'll smart dimension that. And a radius of 5 millimeters would be a diameter of 10 millimeters. Hit OK. All right, so now we have our circle that we were talking about. Okay, so linear sketch pattern. We want circular pattern. We want to select our circle, right? And we have 360 degrees. We want 10 of these. And you can see I'm lowering the degrees here because we only want them to go right in here, just like that. So I picked equal spacing, 240 degrees, and we want 10 of them. And then we hit OK. And then we go ahead and we go to features, extrude cut, through all, and there we have it. There's our first sketch in here. Tutorial 1 is completed. So obviously what you're going to do, let's pick a isometric view, and let's file, save as, put in your documents. We'll call it Chapter 3, Tutorial 1. Hit save. Then we'll hit File, make drawing from part. This is the one we want. We'll make sure that's not checked, so we can get ANSI landscape. Hit OK. We'll bring over one of these parts over here. That looks great. Once again, we can alter the size. 1:1 looks great. Then we're going to go under A note for annotation. We're going to type your name. My name is Mr. Noon, and you're not going to type my name. You're going to type your name. And then we hit OK. And then we go to File, Save. And we have that. Hit Save. And then we hit File, Print. And we're going to want to print to OneNote for Windows 10. Hit OK. Now our OneNote will pop open. And what we have here is we have... we want period 3 DDP, and we're going to look for our handouts section in period 3 DDP, and then you're going to hit OK. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to put this in my collaboration space, and then I'm going to hit OK, and then we'll see what happens is there. Now it just popped up. And then I changed the name of this to Chapter 3, Tutor 1. All right, and that shows up right here. Now we go on to our next one. So File, New, Part, OK. We go to our packet. So now we're on tutorial 2, and here's all our measurements. We're gonna create this. So we already set all our grids and everything exactly where we want. Our snap to. All right, so we want millimeters, grams, seconds, which we had. All right, the major spacing is 5 or 10 and 5. So we're going to have to change that. So let's close that up. All right, this is our new. We go under Tools, Options, Documents. We make sure we look at units. Okay, we want this to be millimeters, grams per second. And then we go under Grid Snap. We want to display our grid. And this time, let's see what we got here. This time, we want 10 in the major grid and 5 in the minor. So we got 5 in the minor and 10 in the major. And then we hit OK. We're going to look at the top plane this time. We're going to go on Sketch and hit Sketch. Here's our grid that we want to display. And here's our center point. And we're going to create a line that is 60 out. So we're going to hit Smart Dimension, 60 mm. And then we're going to go start with this orange dot here. We're going to go up 20. So we smart dimension 20 mm. Then we're going to come out 24. So we pick our line tool. We're going to smart dimension this 24 mm. And then we're going to want to do a tangent arc. So here we are. We did this line, this line, this line, and we want to do a create an arc of 16 millimeters. So I'll smart dimension this 16 mm. And then we do a line back 24. We want to make sure we have a nice straight line, and then see how this snaps up here. So that's 24. We don't have to smart dimension it because we just drew it on this line straight up. So now we're going to make a line here that is 80. So smart dimension it 80 mm. And then we're going to come out 24 again. So that's 24. Now we're going to do our arc of 16 with a radius 16. 16 mm. Hit OK. We're going to come back in 24. And now we're going to repeat what we had before. Where we went up 20. Got a line tool. Up 20. Smart dimension that. 20 mm. And over 60. So you see this blue line that appeared and the yellow line. So that's 60. So there we go, straight across. All right, we can smart dimension it, but we don't have to smart dimension it. All right, so now we're going to use the mirror tool. All right, so we drew all of this, and we have all this dimension here. We're going to draw a center line. The center line is going to go from the top to the bottom, and then we're going to use the mirror sketch entities. So we come over here to our line, and you can see it says center line. Center line is used for measurement purposes, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to draw it all the way down to there. So this is dashed, so we notice that's a center line. We hit OK. And then we have mirror entities. Hit OK. And we want to mirror about, so we're going to delete this. We want to mirror about this line, line 10. It could be any line number. It's line 10 for me. And then what we want to mirror is we want to mirror this line, this line, this line, this arc, this line, this line, this line, this arc, this line, this line, and this line. You can see that as I clicked on these, it drew it over here. And then, so I got this nice closed shape, and then I hit OK. And now we have our entity has been mirrored. So we hit features. Let's do extrude boss base. 10 is a great number. So now we have our shape created. Let's do top plane. Oh, top plane is this one. This one says top plane. All right. Let's click on our face. And let's go sketch, circle. So we have our coordinates right here. And it says we want to pick the coordinates of negative 26, 16, 0. So I'm going up here. You can see our coordinates right here. Going up here. These coordinates aren't going to. Oh, here we go. Negative 26 is right in here. This line probably. That's close enough. So there's a line on the grid right here, and if I get that, let's see. Negative 26, 16. Play with these numbers. Okay, 16. There's 16. That's close. Negative 26. Be this. Oh, negative 26. All right. There you go. Right. This is 16 is up, down, right there. This is good. So I'm going to put a 0 right here on this hash mark on my grids. So I'm going to put a circle there, and the radius is 8. So I'm going to smart dimension that. All right, the radius is 8, and that means the diameter is 16 millimeters. All right. So if I look at these grids here and I go to the center of that, that's close enough for me. All right, so we're going to pick the linear sketch pattern, and then we're going to, on the y-axis, we want to get rid of it. We want this to be just 1 on the x-axis. And we're going to do on the y-axis, we're going to pick the circle. All right, so this is on the y-axis. And all right, we want the spacing. We want 7 of these guys. and we want the spacing to be 24. Okay, so we want 7 on the Y spacing, and then we hit OK. All right, and that did that across. And now we can do linear sketch pattern for the first one, and we can do on the we can have spacing of 50 millimeters with 2 right here. Does it say 50? 52? 52 it wants. 52 millimeters. All right. And then, so that's 52 millimeters. There's 2 of them. Hit OK. And now we could do the same thing. We can select this one here, and then we can do linear sketch pattern. We go on the y-axis. Oh yeah, y-axis. Oh, direction 1. Yeah, we want this to be just 1. Okay, and then so we open that up. Direction 1, we want 1, but on the y-axis, we want this to be the same number again, which was 24. And we want 7, and then we hit OK. And now we're going to do the we're going to cut this. Features, extrude cut, through all, hit OK. And now we have our tutorial 2. So make a file, save as, and then we're going to call that chapter 3 tutorial 2. So last thing we're going to do, we just save the part, and we're going to, of course, make a drawing from the part. Make sure we want the ANSI landscape. Hit OK. And then we're going to, this one looks nice. Pick this one. You can pick any one you want. We're going to do our use custom scale. Oop. Let's see. Gonna click on it. Use custom scale. 1 to 2 is perfect. And then we're gonna go hit OK. And then we're gonna hit annotation, a note. Go ahead and type your name. Not mine, but yours. Hit OK. File save. Save as. Make sure you got it. Hit save in your documents. Then file print. OneNote for Windows 10. Hit OK. OneNote starts blinking. And then we have right here period 3 DDP. Put it in your handout section. And then hit OK. And now this one has been placed up here. And we're going to call that, if you can guess, Chapter 3, Tutor 2. Now we could start on tutorial 3, and we look at this, and we're going to start on the front plane, and then we're going to use millimeters grams per second, and then we're going to have 50 millimeters in the major and 10 in the minor fields for our grids. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So front plane, we have our sketch, we're going to have our tools, options, document properties, units. Want to make sure that we selected millimeter gram per second. And for the grid snap, we want to make sure that we have 50 millimeters for the major and 10 for the minor. And we could either display the grid or not display the grid. So I'm not going to display the grid this time, but you can if you want to. It's really up to you whether you want to use the grid or not. So I'll hit OK. And first thing we want to do, according to our directions, is we want to create a center line. All right, so we're going to use a center line, and we're going to attach it at our origin, and we're going to come up a specific distance. So let's select center line, and I'm going to make this specifically 40. So I'm going to come in here, smart dimension it. I'm going to make that 40 millimeters. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead in these directions here. So this, if we come back here, we see this was 60 across. This is 30, 25, and then this is 30 across, and 30 and 30 make it 60. We're going to use the dynamic mirroring so that when we draw 30 here, 30 appears over there. When we draw 25 here, it appears over there. And then we have a height of 20 and 20, and that's the 40. So that's why I made that reference line to be 40 millimeters, because that's the two stacks of the 20. So I'll come back here. We want to go in our tools and our sketch tools, and we want to go on dynamic mirroring. We want to select our middle tool, our center line here, and now we can start drawing. So let's select our line, and we're going to come, this one's going to come out 30. And you see that it drew it on the other side, dynamic mirror. So we're going to smart dimension this so that it's actually 30. Oh, it's 60 across all the way, so we'll call that 60. Oops. 60 millimeters. And then we're going to go down 20. You see it drew it on the other side. So we have our smart dimension, and we go 20 millimeters. And then we're going to come out 25. So we're going to have smart dimension this 25 millimeters. Then we're going to come down 20 again. That's at 20. Wait, OK. And then we're going to have a line come out this way. That's going to be 30. So let's smart dimension that to be 30 mm. All right, so now you see it drew on the other side of this center line, it drew exactly what we drew on the left side, now came out on the right side. So we hit this. We want to do to our tools, sketch tools. We want to turn off, this is selected, we want to turn off the entities, so that's been turned off. And now we want to go to our offset entities. So this is section 5. So we did all this. Section 4, section 5. So offsetting the sketch entities. All right, so we use our offset entities tool. It looks like this. So up here, offset entities tool. And we want this to be 5 millimeters. Oh, we're going to select. We select our line. So I went and selected on it. So that's 5 millimeters. Now, it's above or below. We want it to be below, so we're going to hit reverse, and that puts it underneath it. And then we want to cap ends with lines. All right, so if you have arcs, you see it did this nice curve here, but we want lines, so it goes straight up and down. And then we just hit the check mark. And now we have this. Now we can go to features, extrude boss base, and we can make this a nice, let's see where we go here, back here. we want it to look just like that. And I would say that 70 or 60. We could go with 60. 60 looks perfect. So then we hit OK. And there you go. So now we hit File, Save As. Chapter 3, Tutorial 3. And hit Save. And then we hit File, Make Drawing from Part. Make sure we have selected the A. Sorry, make sure that that's not checked A, ANSI Landscape. And we hit OK. And then we drag this over. And that's there. And then we come over here to use a custom setting. And that looked good. So we hit OK. And then we come over here to Annotation and A Note. And we type our name there. Remember, it's your name. Not my name, but your name. And then we hit File, Save. Oh, we hit check mark first. Check mark. File, Save As. There you go. And then Print. OneNote for Windows 10. Hit OK. This is blinking. We come over here. It says period 3 DDP. Put it in your handout section. Hit OK. And then boom, that's there. So then once again, we change this to Chapter 3, Tutor, 3. All right, now we only have one more drawing to do, so let's come over here. All right, so that finished that, and now you'll see you have your hands-on test drive. So go ahead and create this part all by yourself using the knowledge you've already gained, and then answer these questions, and then you can submit all your work, and you'll be done for today. So go ahead and do that, and then you'll be done, and you can hand in all your work.